Jing has a very close association with willpower and the drive to be able to get things accomplished in life. Hello Kindred Longevity Lifestyle Designers, this is Zach here with SecretSelfLongevity.com. Jing is a term used in the Chinese traditional medicine, but also specifically the three treasure tonic system of both Qigong, which is used in Qigong and used in certain parts of Chinese herbalism. So, to sum it up very briefly, there's three sort of levels of, or states of qualities of these things that we want to cultivate and build to have radiant health. Number one is Jing, which is known as foundational essence. The next one would be Qi. And by the way, I'm doing these up here, but basically the location of Jing would be the lower abdomen. That's where that quality in the body and those things associated with it are reside. That's where they reside. Next would be Qi, and that's a little higher up. That's more our upper solar plexus and digestive system, even going up into the heart. And then the qualities of Shen would reside in the head and the upper body. And Shen is similar to what you'd call spiritual radiance, qualities that would be attributed to anything spiritually enlightening. And I kind of skipped over it, but Qi is your sort of driving force that you have the energy to be able to do everyday things. But Jing is very key because it is that foundational quality, and we want to build it up and have it sustain us throughout all our days, however long our days happen to last. And it is said that those with very weak Jing or who leak Jing over the course of time tend to have a shorter lifespan, because Jing, when it's abundant and held well within the body, it is a very good supporter of long life. So Jing is divided, at least simply, into just Yin and Yang Jing. Yin Jing is the sort of foundation of the foundation. It is upon which everything else resides upon, and a lot of people really emphasize taking yin tonic herbs and anything yin that's very restorative and rejuvenative. And that's very important to have to be able to build up the yang. And to a certain extent, if you can just build yin, because so many people in our society today are very depleted in yin jing from stress, overuse of stimulants and caffeine, lack of sleep. All these things start sort of chipping away at the fortitude of the qualities of yin jing in the body. We can think of Jing as a specific energy, but it would be a very dense and wet energy. But we can also think of it in terms of just the qualities that are associated with it. If you have that very, very rational mind, you don't want to step into that realm of talking about these things because they seem a little airy-fairy. But you don't have to believe in these things for you to get the benefits of what this way of categorizing qualities in the body sort of makes up. So, like some of the herbs I'm going to mention for Yang Jing tonics that help support Yang Jing, if you don't have that foundation again built up, that is a little more precarious. It's like building a large building on a very small base. It's not a smart thing to do. One of the strongest structures we can see in human architecture over the course of humanity's history is the pyramids. Anywhere in the world, pyramids last a very long time. They have the very strong structure of the way they're shaped. So if you think of your body in that way, obviously you're not shaped like a pyramid, but if you have the most attention placed on the Jing, so that you're really building that up, and over time it might turn into more of equal balance of how much you focus on it, but across the board pretty much everyone is very depleted in these qualities that are associated with Jing. So specifically, there's a Q&A question someone's asking how to build up Yang Jing. If you don't already have your Yin built up, that would be number one way of building up Yang Jing, because you must ascend the ladder, so to speak, in the right order. So when you have your sleep in check, your lifestyle stress levels in check, you have adequate amounts of the sort of minerals and herbs and things that would come from the herbs that would restore your body, such as the zinc and the other things. That's going to be sort of the first step. The Yang Jing qualities, I'll first say, have more to do with your libido. They have to do with your drive for success in all areas of your life, the active willingness to get up and get out of bed in the morning without being very slow to wake up and very dragging your feet, so to speak. The other qualities have to do with athleticism and being able to be very retaining of the musculature that you have on your body. So that starts getting into the realm of qi, because if you think of that energy, or thinking of those energies and rising up that sort of column of where they represent different things in our body, we start getting into qi, which is more the energy and the ability to be active when I'm talking about athletics, but specifically with our ability to have a strong constitution so that we can be athletic, so that the qi can move through the musculature, so that the qi can move through our bones. So if that's really strong and built up well, which is the qualities of Yang Jing, then it becomes easier for those other qualities higher up to manifest. So Yang just simply means, if we think of yin and yang, it's that sort of masculine quality that has the fiery, the warm, the lighter, the rising qualities to it. So we can simply think of Yang Jing as the side of Jing that is that more active side. And that is very self-explanatory. In ways to boost it, like I've already talked about, there's the yin Jing we want to boost up, and then on top of that you're going to be active in your life. This, in a certain way, if you're doing body weight training, basically resistance training of any type, you're building up sort of the ability to contain Yang Jing in your body, because you're building up your hormones when you weight train, less so when you're doing cardio or just simple stretching, flexibility, or qigong, or these things. They're not actively increasing the capacity of your body to hold on to this quality and make room for that Jing to manifest. So you think about someone who's extremely muscled. You might have the stereotypical thought of someone in a gym that's kind of a jerk, and they have sort of anger issues or roid rage. Well, while that's an extreme and that's an unhealthy qualities when you start thinking of those sort of negative qualities, but basically the attitude of these people tend to be one that's very dominant. It's very powerful in one sense, because they are physically powerful, so that manifests in their personality. In some cases, of course, not all. But those qualities are enhanced by doing strength training. It doesn't have to be weight training to the point where you're bodybuilding and trying to put on 50 pounds of muscle. It could be that you're doing 100 push-ups on 2 different days twice per week, and that is going to significantly increase the blood flow through different muscles, and that in turn increases the nutrients that get there, and again the qi, because blood and qi are synonymous. So that's how you increase the Yang Jing through exercise. Now, to increase it through herbs and food, there are certain things we want to start paying attention to. And I've done a video on how to raise your testosterone with 10 great foods. And you can check out this video here if you want to review that video or see it for the first time if you haven't seen it yet. And in it I give some really basic foods, not in any particular order of best to worst or anything like that. But these are 10 foods that are known to boost testosterone levels. And as we know, hormones are really linked into this quality of Yang Jing when we have very good hormonal power. And by the way, this is great for men and women. It's not just men that this would be referring to. Women, if you're having, again, low libido or lowered libido, low drive to get things accomplished, low ability to just get up and get out of bed in the morning without really dragging your feet, then this is something you want to start looking at. You're not going to suddenly sprout facial hair or have these masculine qualities come up in you. It's simply bringing about a greater balance to something that's already within you. And to really throw yourself off balance, you'd have to be doing something really significant. And you'd probably have other things going on that would be causing that. The body, from these normal, healthy foods and herbs, is simply not going to throw you off. Unless you, of course, with certain herbs, you're overdosing, but you know better than to do that, of course. With herbs, the top couple herbs that I'm going to list here are number one across the board for Yang Jing, I definitely have to say, is elk antler, and or deer antler, of course. And that's because it has a multitude of different androgenic building effects. It has the real IGF-1 that's in there that gets absorbed into your system when you leave in your mouth, and it is absorbed sublingually, and that goes right in and starts repairing tissue, accelerating hormones, accelerating again the tissue repair in terms of speeding up, but as well as facilitating the repair, and then also providing other nutrients that help build those systems. So that really is number one, just because of how powerful it is. If you think of the male elk or deer that have their antlers that grow very quickly in 1 or 2 seasons, or actually 2 or 3 seasons, but every year they're growing these huge rack of antlers on their head, and then they get dropped. So those antlers, to grow that fast, they have to have a lot of hormonal power and a lot of Yang Jing happening. So that is where it's concentrated in that animal, and those are sustainably harvested, very sustainably harvested from the company that I recommend, which is Surthrival's elk antler, which you can find at the links below. And yeah, that's definitely my number one, but there's some really great runners-up. Number 2 is going to be pine pollen, which contains bioidentical testosterone that our body can use straight away. And again, you can get that Surthrival, the links below as well. And this has a vast array of minerals, vitamins, and other phytochemicals that are boosting to the whole body's health. It's actually a whole body tonic, working on all 5 organ systems from the Chinese perspective. And it is very key for, again, boosting those hormones, the male androgens, which do exist in both men and women. But, and again, this isn't going to be something that throws you off balance unless you're perhaps overdoing the tincture could. If you're doing something ridiculous like 8 dropperfuls a day and you don't even have any sort of diagnosis of low testosterone, it could throw that off for both men and women. But it's not going to be drastic. That's going to cause health problems. It's just probably going to make you irritable and easily angered and other things like that. It's interesting to note that a lot of Yang Jing boosting herbs and foods tend to be animal foods. Obviously the pine pollen wasn't, but there is a large number of them in Chinese medicine that are animal foods. And this next one, which is Polyrhacus ant extract, is very powerful for increasing a whole wide range of things. It's very high in zinc. It's one of the highest natural sources of zinc of any food, way past oysters. And it is known that the ants can lift many hundreds of times their own weight, and that, again, is coming in with that idea of strength, actual physical strength, being tied in with Yang Jing, and it's said that you get those qualities from the ant when you consume it. And people have, in clinical studies, looked at the increases in strength that can come from taking this product, and that's largely due to the zinc and the other things that are going on in it. So you can get it at one of the links below. And then the next one, which is also an animal food, is cordyceps, and this is a parasitic mushroom that grows out of insects, and it is both a yin and yang Jing tonic, so even on its own it's wonderful because it has that dual quality to it. I also have an article below if you want to read about cordyceps. I also have one for pine pollen if you want to read either of those two. And then I also have a third one, which is another food that is on this list, which is colostrum. It has a whole wide array of growth factors in it. I've done videos on this in the past, I'm sure you know. You can look in YouTube, just search colostrum, bovine colostrum, raw colostrum, and you'll probably get some clips of my videos as well as others on there. But you can also read the article that I've done, which is a really good article that covers all its benefits and myriad of health improving qualities. So those are really the top ones that come to mind, but there's also some other sort of tertiary herbs that are definitely Yang Jing tonics. They just have less going for them, but they're still very great things to take. One of them is not a tonic herb, this first one, which is epimedium. This herb you can get on your own and experiment with, but definitely don't go more than using 1 tablespoon at a time in a liter of water drank throughout the course of a day, and that in terms of a dosage, because it is not something you want to overdose on. I've taken too much of that and actually gotten a bloody nose, and in Chinese medicine that just means that your yang qualities have gone overboard and are almost like seeping out of you. coming out through the nose that is indicative of other things. If that is happening to you, definitely need to stop what you're taking, reduce it, see a Chinese doctor. You should be working with someone that knows very well the whole system and how these things are affecting you if you're using the non-tonic herbs. And epimedium is one of them, but overall the other ones are very safe. Those first ones I mentioned were all tonics, and you can take those in amounts that aren't going to cause these problems. But epimedium, and then the other one would be Tongkat Ali, which some people say is a tonic, some people have had very intense experiences with it. It is probably one of the most powerful things for boosting androgens in the body. It doesn't directly contain anything. So it's known for its libido enhancing qualities, very much so, but it's also overall just getting that drive back. And you can start to see that there's that association between physical drive of getting stuff done and accomplished in life, as well as our sexual drive, libido, etc. Those things are really tied into each other, and when we're lacking, when we tend to be lacking in the other, when one tends to be very healthy and strong, the other one tends to be very healthy and strong. So the Tongkat Ali is a great one if you're really interested in something intense. The two other great herbs, which I've used on many occasions but don't have links for below, would be Sistanch or Sistanch, and then also Eucommia bark. Different people say things different ways, but these are again two Yongjing Chinese tonic herbs, and then a couple ones from around the world are also maca. That's a very popular one. You can get that at a link below. Ashwagandha, you can find a link below for that. That's an Indian herb. It's known as Indian ginseng, but it has a very strong Yongjing quality to it. And another one you can find at the link below is Tribulus terrestris. These are all very powerful herbs. You would not want to take all of these all at once that I've talked about in this video. You can look at them, research them, and find the ones you want to take yourself. Some are very pricey, some are very affordable. So take that into account as well. You can find links below for most of those, not all of them, but you can always search the ones that you can't see down there. Look for sources of good quality companies that are selling those as well. But again, the herbs are sort of a tertiary side to this. We want to have that yin-jing very strong in our body. Herbs do boost this up, but we also want to live the lifestyle that helps preserve and boost things up just in and of itself. And again, that large part was the exercise, the other part is diet. We want to have good healthy cholesterol levels, not this ridiculously low cholesterol that people are talking about in the mainstream. One thing I've noticed from consuming animal foods when I went from a vegan then to vegetarian then to omnivore diet over the last 2 years in different stages, big change in what I would associate as Yongjing. So if you find you're waning at all in your drive for things and you happen to be pretty restrictive in your cholesterol intake or foods that boost cholesterol, and we're talking about HDL as well as LDL, but less so the LDL in the sense of the VLDL side of it. That's the very low density lipoprotein. I've explained this in other videos before, but it's the VLDL we want to be concerned about as well as triglycerides and the ratio of VLDL to HDL. LDL you don't really need to pay attention to at all. It's that portion of LDL which is not done on most blood tests that is really the harmful one that sticks to the inside of our arteries and causes cholesterol to oxidize in us. And that's not the VLDL is not supported by the consumption of animal foods. It's actually carbohydrates that get those levels higher. One other factor of the question that was actually originally posed was whether Yongjing needs to be boosted if one is suffering from depression or if that's something that will lower it. And it can definitely be connected. You know, you have lack of drive, and if you think of a depressed state, it's someone who doesn't have a lot of oomph in their life in terms of wanting to be productive, be active, be outgoing. So that can be a cause, but I think with anything of that nature, you definitely want to work with a practitioner, because the Chinese system can be more complicated because it can be a variety of things. It can be on the level of the qi, not having enough of that being able to flow through the body, but it can also be related to shen. So I think it's a very individual matter, the sort of underlying cause of anyone's depression. Almost every illness could have multiple causes depending on the person's constitution and where they're at. So that's just something to take in mind. But if you do happen to be a little on the downside of things, boosting Yang Jing and working with it and seeing if that alters things can definitely be of benefit. With that, look at all those things, check out the links below, and really think about your own life and what qualities are present in this or not. And also I want to hear from both men and women in the comments below about whether you have strong Jing or not, and if it's something that you can improve. That can get a little personal, but maybe you'll comment, maybe you won't. Anyway, subscribe and hit the like button, and with that, take care and embrace life without limits.